Okay, dear Dhamma friends, we have come to the final sessions of this Kalalgoda English medium retreat. So that's a question and answer session. So I like to invite to begin with written questions.
Most Venerable Sir, today we have altogether 6 questions, mostly on meditation experience.
Yes.
Most Venerable Bhante, sitting meditation. I try to focus on rising and falling of the abdomen with breath. After some time, the breath becomes very subtle and even rising and falling becomes difficult to feel. Then it is difficult to find breath. Sometimes, what should I do when this happens? Please advise.
Yeah, actually that is the progress. So if sometimes we misunderstand that as a kind of we losing the attention or we lost the mindfulness, but rather when we are developing mindfulness, when we are then the breath calms down. It happens in the Anapanasati as well as in rising and falling. Say if you are doing Anapanasati meditation, once it is calming down, in the sense that you are watching the complete in breath, then the complete out breath, complete in breath, complete out breath. So likewise, when you are immersed and slowly watching it, it naturally it starts to calm down. At that time, we have to let it calm down rather than agitating it again. Similarly, in the rising and falling also, so it starts simply noting with rising and falling. Later, suppose we drop noting and now simply experiencing it. So we are with the complete rising cycle, complete falling cycle, complete rising cycle, complete falling cycle. So like manner, when we are fully in it, so it has that nature to calm down. So ultimately we come to a stage where we can't even recognize whether it is present. So at that time, if we do any kind of forced breathing, it is wrong. Or if we change our attention to, say if you understood, say you were doing Anapanasati and it disappeared, now you shift to rising and falling, it is wrong. Or else if you are doing rising and falling, once it disappears, if you shift to Anapanasati, that is wrong. Idea is to let it calm down. That is why Buddha says, Passambhayang kaya sankharang assa sisamiti sikkati. So you have to let it calm down. Once it calms down, say you may have a really subtle sensation and you are just aware of it. And even that might disappear, and at that time don't worry, don't agitate yourself, don't confuse, just be there. See how long you can stay. So likewise you have to somewhat train yourself in this calm state. At that time, mostly at the very beginning, you might fall asleep because there is no much object to grasp. There is no much activity going on, but it's an extremely subtle breath or extremely subtle sensation is there. So we may not be able to keep ourselves awake at that time, so we might even fall asleep. Next time again you try. Again might fall asleep. Next time you again try. Next time you may be able to maintain that calm state without falling asleep. So it is very necessary to maintain our wakefulness, our mindfulness in this subtle state without falling asleep. Suppose you are successful in it and you are confident, now even in the next session I might reach there without falling asleep. I may be able to maintain it for 15 minutes, 30 minutes like that. Once you have confidence on that, spend say several minutes there at that calm state and establish your mindfulness and concentration, and then better come to the body and try to pick up any kind of sensation available throughout the body. Now it is not just the rising and falling is your object, rather now any sensation available throughout the body is valid object. So now the whole body becomes your experiment. At the beginning we only selected rising and falling and we improved our attention, improved our say mindfulness. Once it is developed, now at that time suppose you get kind of a itch or some kind of vibration, some kind of a pressure, some kind of stiffness, any of these things. So you just shift your attention to that new place and just start watching there. Suppose that also reduce, then check throughout the body where now I can find a sensation. So you go to that new place and watch that. So likewise, you go through the whole body and start watching these sensations. And it may be sometimes you might even look at it in the feeling angle. You may feel a kind of a feeling. So it may be a slight happy feeling, it may be a little pain. So even if you are going and watching that, it's still no problem. Yes.
Same yogi, walking meditation. In walking meditation, I observe left and right feet and their touch with the earth. I try to focus on left and right when I change feet. But sometimes I find my mind is thinking about something else while I am noticing changing feet at the same time. I am not sure if I am automatically muttering left and right in mind while thinking of other things. Can this happen? I have learned that two thoughts cannot occur at the same time. Thank you so much. Theruvan Saranai.
Yeah, I mean, since left and right is a small thing, while thinking also you can simply say left and right, but but it is not proper. But I mean, when you are doing left and right, that means when you are saying left, that should indicate your full strength should be there, or your full attention should be there. While you are thinking something, left and right, if you are telling like that, no point. So once your left foot is touching, just be aware of that touch sensation at that time. In a way to avoid wandering, you are putting kind of a confirmation telling it is left. And when its right foot is touching, in order to avoid wandering, avoid distraction, you are confirming it, telling it is right. So you have to be with this experience totally. So not half away. And when mind distracts, you are not in this experience and you are with something else. Suppose you understood that you are now in something else. At that time, return back to this left and right and just continue. Yeah.
Venerable Bhante, when meditating sometimes I can have two thoughts. While primary one sitting there and there is another one arise. I can see both thoughts at the same time, but after a while one vanishes. Is it normal? Please explain. Thank you. Theruvan Saranai.
Yes, in Dhamma also it is said now, when you are going through, say, this observation, even particularly in, say, watching the mind in Chittanupassana, there is a thought going on and there is a knowing thought also. So it appears like both happens at the same time, but according to the Dhamma, as in the previous question it is mentioned, no thoughts happen at the same time. It is kind of a sequentially they are happening, but in a extremely rapid way, so that we can't recognize this temporal difference. So it appears like both are at the same time. Anyway, you can see that there is an ongoing thought process and there is another thought, another process recognizing it, telling, okay, this is lust, this is anger, this is delusion, this is something else. Like that, there's an ongoing thought and there's a recognizing thought. So sometimes it is tell in jnatancha jnanancha ubhayopi vipassati. So there's a observant and then the observing mind, and you are aware of both. There is something going on, some phenomena is happening, changing, and that is also known. And there's a knowledge, the wisdom part, that is also there. And you may be aware of all the thing, everything. So those are kind of interesting things you may come across as your mindfulness develop. Because at the beginning, you have kind of a narrow mindfulness where you know only a particular characteristics of the element. Say when you know, say, stiffness, you need to know it fully, 100%, well focused, and you know that. Later on, more and more you can understand these features immediately. You don't need much effort. You know how to handle it now. You can immediately locate the place and identify those things. Now further mindfulness improve and it now broadens. So now throughout the body you can have a kind of a bird's eye view like thing, where many places are sensations. Now you can pick any of those things. Now mindfulness has broadened. Now its breadth has improved, increased. So at that time these new experiences can happen, where even you can experience that there are many different thought patterns or many different sections happening in the mind. Or while you are feeling something, there are some perceptions also. While you are feeling something, there are certain thoughts also. So likewise, you can see a fairly broader picture about the meditation. So it's an improvement of the mindfulness.
Bhante, there are two sections in this question. Dear Venerable, sitting meditation. Question number 1, should I only focus on the tip of my nose, or can I also follow the whole path of my breath?
Yeah, second is wrong. Actually, typically, we have to maintain our attention at the nostril. So don't follow the breath inside with it, like going to the say nasal and then going to lungs. Likewise, don't follow it. Again, when it is coming out, don't follow it. So typically mindfulness is compared to a kind of a security guard. So he who stays at the entrance. So his duty is to stay at the entrance and check the incomers, who is coming, who is the legal person to go in and who is not proper to go in. So his duty is there at the entrance. So mindfulness is like that. So you have to maintain mindfulness at the nostril. So don't go with the breath and don't go out with the breath. So you just stay there. And while you are staying there, say in-breath is now occurring, now happening, and simply you watch it. Now maybe it's the beginning of the in-breath. Now it is now passing, and now you understand, oh, this is the middle of the in-breath. Then the end part also happened. This is the end of the in-breath. Suppose now in-breath has totally gone, totally disappeared. There is nothing to see. You just stay there. So don't look for any other place. Just maintain your attention at the nostril. You may experience some kind of a gap before the next part happens, before the out-breath happens. Suppose now you are able to catch the subtle beginning of the out-breath, then the middle of the out-breath, then the end of the out-breath, and that also fully disappear. And now still you are maintaining your attention at the nostril, and now nothing to see. In-breath has finished and out-breath also has finished, and you just have to stay there with a gap, kind of a empty thing. And then again the next cycle begins. Again you can see there's a middle, the beginning of the in-breath, middle of the in-breath, the end of the in-breath. Again the gap. So likewise you are simply maintaining your attention at the nostril. Yes.
Second question. After a while my in-breath and out-breath becomes shorter, and I sometimes feel kind of a pressure in the chest. What can I do? Thank you.
Pressure in the chest. So still don't go and distract yourself with this pressure. Better stay with the breath. So it is necessary to develop fair amount of concentration through breath meditation before you are going to watch these other sensations. So still be with the breath. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. Just to be more precise, it's like a feeling of lacking some air, like that I'm lacking oxygen, like it's not enough. So sometimes I have to...
Yeah, you don't need to worry. You don't need. Body will take care of it. So yes, sometimes we think, okay, breath has calmed down. It is like almost I am not breathing. So I might wonder, will that oxygen is enough for the body? So don't worry about it, because now bodily activities are fairly calmed down, and our mental activities are also fairly calmed down. So body needs only a subtle, limited amount of oxygen. So that body will take care. So we don't need to worry. Now say for example, during sleeping, so we don't know whether body is taking enough oxygen. So if we are checking that, we can't sleep. So similarly here also, when breath calms down, even the slightest thought happening like that is disturbing this process. So you have to fully allow it to calm down, and that is how it is, the calming down process happening. There's another question from that person. Yes.
Thank you. We train our concentration with and will with meditation. My question is how we train our wisdom.
Yeah.
And how is related this training with our meditation practice?
Yes. So actually, so the whole Vipassana training is actually moving towards wisdom training. So you can't immediately do something telling, okay, I am now doing improvement of the wisdom, but rather as you observe the phenomena, how they are changing, how they are arising, how they are passing away, how they are changing, and how they are not behaving according to my wish. So likewise, when you are witnessing these things under your very nose, so there is a wisdom arising underneath. So even when you are watching a breath, for example, suppose you are not distracted, you are fully observing the breath, and you understand there is a kind of an ongoing process. That is due to certain causes. Now there's a certain amount of air is coming in, and there's a sensation happening due to that. Now that sensation varies, and now it is completely disappeared. Now another process starts. Again it is changing. Again it is disappeared. So likewise, as you observe these things, there is a wisdom development. So there is a kind of an inquiring mind occurring. There is a kind of an investigation happening. So Buddha says, now as you develop 4 satipatthana, so there is this bojjhanga also getting started to develop. So there is say when breath occurs, you are watching it with some eagerness, watching it not with kind of a lethargic, lazy feeling, rather you are inquisitive about it. You want to know what is really happening. So that is the attribute of wisdom. Vimansa, parivimansa, so those are certain terms used for wisdom. So you are more inquisitive about it. You want to investigate what is happening. So that is actually contributing to the wisdom side. So that is one part. But as you develop this further and further, there is a kind of an insight development, that kind of an understanding development happen that these things are impermanent. They are occurring without my knowledge or without my interference. Or I have no control, and if I am holding to them, they give some kind of unsatisfaction. So these are certain another types of insights. And Buddha says, Yathabhutam, this samahito yathabhutam pajanati. So this once your mind is concentrated and once you are observing, so it leads to the understanding of the reality. Understanding of the reality is again in the wisdom side. So once you understand more and more, there is a kind of a dispassion arise. So it is a natural process. So there is no kind of voluntarily you need to do specifically telling, okay, now I have to shift my attention to wisdom development. This whole process is sort of coming as a bundle. So at the beginning it is true that you are introducing more mindfulness, but as you develop, it takes in concentration, it takes in wisdom. As you develop wisdom, again it takes in mindfulness. Once you develop mindfulness, further concentration develop. So likewise these say mental qualities, spiritual qualities are helping each other and all are developing. Yes.
Thank you.
Dear Venerable, unlike with breathing, is it fine to deliberately modify the speed of our steps in order to facilitate focusing in walking meditation? Thank you.
Maybe suppose you feel sleepy while walking, then you can do some kind of such trick to avoid say feeling sleepy, or if you want to energize yourself, you can make something like that. But in order to happen it properly, you need to allow body to walk in its natural phase rather than making it artificial. Like breathing, so when breathing happens naturally, then only you are able to fully witness it. Similarly, walking also, when it is happening naturally, then only you can separate from it and simply watch it. Because at the beginning, we think we need lot of effort to do it. That's a kind of a perception we have. We think that we need fair amount of energy to do it, fair amount of effort to do it. So we exert lot of effort. Actually, we are exerting too much effort at the beginning. Later on only we will, because in one hand that is necessary, because otherwise mind start distracting. Suppose you don't have any distraction, then actually only a limited amount of effort is needed to watch this process. Then you are simply allowing the body to slowly, say, go from this end to the other end, and you are simply catching the information. You are simply tracing the information. You are simply witnessing the information. You are simply sensing the information. So it's a kind of a passive process in that sense. So then you don't need much energy. Yes.
Dear Venerable, in Vipassana, do we need to identify the causes of the defilements, or is it enough to realize that they have causes without trying to identify them and as such are non-real? Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, both approaches one can take. Say, if you are able to see the content of the thoughts without getting deluded by them, without getting caught to them, you may be able to see that underneath there's a kind of a craving. So you can see, you can understand the craving part in it. That is one aspect. Tanha. So sometimes there are certain thoughts happening. If you see the content, you might see that those thoughts are kind of comparing yourself with someone else, telling that he is not good, I am the best. Or you are telling, okay, he did like that, so but I am the one. Like that's kind of a conceit involved. So you are simply watching, by watching that content, you can understand the conceit part in the thought. So on the other hand, sometimes certain thoughts are happening. If you little see the content, you can see it's confirming there's a person, telling that I am there, so I did like this, so I am the one. Like that, the kind of a ego is involved, and there is a think that you think that I was there in the past, and now I am here, and I was in the future. So there's a kind of a ditti, the wrong view. So the I is involved. So likewise, if you see this content of the thoughts, you can see that these are the main causes contributing for the occurring of these thoughts. So these are the main causes helping to manifest the thoughts. They are the causes generating thoughts. Tanha, ditti, mana. Craving, conceit, craving, wrong view and conceit. So they are the three main roots causing thoughts to happen. So you understand these causes by little analyzing the thoughts. You can do it in Chittanupassana and in Dhammanupassana. So that way you can understand the cause. So later on, suppose you, without much analyzing, you can, even by face look, you can simply say it's coming through conceit, it's coming through craving, it's coming through wrong views. So likewise, you now know the taste of them, and through just tasting it a little, you can understand the causes. So therefore, both your suggestions are correct. Yes.
Final question, Bhante. Venerable Bhante, is it good to practice metta meditation in conjunction with vipassana meditation? Thank you.
That is something also possible, but I would say if your mind is well concentrated, if you are in a really positive attitude and you are in a sort of a serene mood, then no need to do with metta meditation. You can directly go to, say, observing mind or observing say sensations or observing feelings, like those things you can carry on. But if your mind is little agitated and little in a frustrated, angry mood, then you can little do metta meditation and calm down yourself and make some amount of happiness in the mind, and then you can shift to vipassana. And on the other hand, there's another method mentioned in one sutta called Metta Sahagata Sutta, where Buddha says even one can develop bojjhanga with the attitude of metta. So, metta sahagatena sati sambojjhangam bhaveti. Metta sahagatena dhammavichaya sambojjhangam bhaveti. So, Buddha says, so that is the kind of a distinctive characteristic in his teaching than when compared with the others' metta meditation. So, there was a beautiful scene happened there. So, one group of monks went to another ascetic place. So they start to have a kind of a conversation. So there are the other group, the other believers tell that, are you practicing metta? Then the monks telling, yes, we are also practicing metta. So we are also practicing metta. So now there's a coming of an argument. So they say, then what's the difference? So we are also practicing metta, and you being the disciples of the Buddha, you are also practicing the metta. So we both are doing the same thing. So then the monks return back and tell the story to the Buddha, and Buddha says there's a difference. So there Buddha says, when you are doing keeping metta, you are not just limiting yourself to the conventional level. Typically metta meditation evolves in the conventional level. Say you are taking say known person, a teacher, your loved one, no kind of a neutral person, like there's a kind of personal involvement is there. So that is still in the conventional level. But later on, we go beyond that. We go beyond that, then we take the whole direction. Everyone available in the front direction, I sort of pervade metta. To the other direction, I pervade metta. Then behind, I pervade metta. To the left, I pervade metta. So it's like all directions now I am pervading metta, spreading metta. So then you are reaching another fairly advanced stage we call metta ceto vimutti. So there is no boundary there. That's a fairly advanced state of metta. And at that time, it's a very subtle level of personal, this conventional attitude is there. Still you have some kind of feeling of beings. For all the beings, I am spreading metta, wish them all happy. Still some personal thing is there. And Buddha says, at that time you can shift to vipassana. So you can shift that, now you have a fairly uplifted state of mind, and you can simply take that, remove this conventional personal thing, and you can look at that feeling. So now you may have a kind of uplifted, kind of pleasant feeling. You can watch this feeling. Or you can watch how the mind is, say, taking these signs. So like that you can change it to vipassana, and you are dropping this conventional reality. And you are coming back to the direct experience, and you are converting yourself to vipassana now. But while watching while doing this feeling, suppose now there's a soft, happy feeling is there. Now this happy feeling now you are observing. Now this happy feeling starting, this changing, is disappearing. But you are in the background of metta, because you came through that. So that is where metta sahagatena sati sambojjhangam bhaveti. Now you are in a different shifted paradigm, where you came from metta, but now you are developing bojjhanga, developing vipassana. So that is a kind of a distinctive feature in Buddha's teaching, which is not appearing in the other sects. So Buddha says it. So if one develops like this, still the bojjhanga development is possible. So if you like, you can maintain that kind of attitude. So once you come into do vipassana, you can have a little metta attitude in the mind. It gives some kind of happiness to your practice, because sometimes vipassana appears very dry. So you can little put this juice of metta. Yeah. Yes. So we have ended up with the written questions. If you have any other question, we can spend some more time.
I have too many questions, maybe. No, I was wondering, because you talked about the selflessness.
Sorry?
Selflessness, the non-self.
Yeah.
Yes, the non-self. So I was wondering how to define the I or the self. So is it, we say that it's non-self because it's purely conditioned by different causes and factors, so it doesn't have the pure essence? This is this?
Yeah. You gave the answer.
Okay. So, and how do we use this realization in the Vipassana meditation?
Yeah,
so
it has to, I mean, you can read a lot of books and try to understanding it, but when you are meditating, mostly what happens is that you understand these processes are happening out of my control. Now say breathing happens, but I mean, if I am controlling, I am making it artificial like. But without my involvement, body just breathes. And when the long breath happens, it is not I am making it long, but it is naturally due to certain other causes. That period of breath is changing. It's a kind of a variable. I am not changing it. It is not you are making it longer or shorter, but rather due to certain other causes, it appears, it becomes shorter or longer. Similarly, you are simply watching, now it is calming down. So it's kind of a process which happens without your participation. And suppose while you are watching, so kind of entirely irrelevant thoughts are coming. You are not the one invited them, so they occurred. So so due to this understanding, you start to feel kind of a dispassion, because if it is not mine, if these things are not behaving according to my wish, then why I call them as mine? Suppose you have a car, for example. So why you call that car as your car when compared with the other cars? Because this car you can take at any time and you can use it and go to any place. It belongs to you. And if you want to change its color, you can change the color also. And if you want to fix another item, you can put it. If you want to remove it, you can remove it. So like that, you have some control. Because of that, you are calling it is my car. So similarly, can we apply that same principle to our body? So now suppose this is my body. So I don't want to make it sick. Do you willfully making your body sick? So none of us want to make it sick, but it gets sick. And say, I like to stay as a youth with good eyesight and with good ear hearing capacity and all the good complexion, but it does not obey my ideas. It does not obey my wish. It's going on its own process, and it is going through the aging process. It's going through the sort of changing process, and ultimately it will die even when I don't want to die. So therefore the body has its own cycle, it has own laws, and it is behaving according to those laws. Similarly the feelings. So certain feelings are happening, even though I like to maintain those feelings for a longer time, they don't exist or they don't last till I am enough. They simply go away when I want to have them. And sometimes I don't want to have certain painful feeling. Still those painful feelings occur. I am not the one asking them, but they themselves are happening. And when I am watching them, and all of a sudden they disappear. Even when I haven't expected, they simply disappear. So more and more you see these things, Buddha says, it leads to dispassion. It leads to some kind of a separation. That you understand, because typically we have very much grasping when we think we have full control. But when we see that something behaving according to their own way, we just let it happen. Say, I can give a fairly strong simile which Buddha has given. Suppose Buddha actually in one side, in one sutta, I can't remember the name of the sutta, and he says that one young say husband has a beautiful wife, and this wife is not a good wife, by the way. So she sleeps with someone else also. And some people now tell that to this person, that your wife is not a good person, so she is in different other things as well. So this one doesn't believe it. Another people also coming and telling it. Now there's a doubt. And so he advises the wife, okay, you don't do that. Still the wife does the same thing. So she is not behaving well. Now she is very much like a prostitute. And then what this person does is, in today's terms, he simply divorces her. And once divorced her, she goes on her own way. And even after divorce, now she is on her own way. And now people are telling still that this particular woman is now with someone else. So is it hurting to this person now? To this new previous husband? Is it hurting? Buddha says no, because he already has given up. She is no more his husband, his wife. Only beginning she was, and he liked her, and he owned her, and she is his wife, and he thinks he has full control over her. But she is behaving the way he don't like. I mean, she is behaving on her own way. So later this person divorced her, and now she is still going on her own way. But still this person is not suffering now. So similarly, we think our body belongs to me. So I suffer and I want to have it the way I like. So I want to keep it beautiful. I want to make it, say, healthy. I want to keep it without dying. And when I want to run it quickly, it should run quickly. When I want to move slowly, it should move slowly. So likewise, every wish I am having, body has to obey. That is how we think. But as we grow old, so it is going on its own way. When I want to run fast, body can't run fast. When I want to see clearly, body can't see clearly. When I want to hear things clearly, body can't hear things clearly. So we understand it is not now behaving the way I like. So you have a kind of a dispassion. But it happens through vipassana by continuous observation of the process. You are with a fairly concentrated mind, you are observing the various natural processes happening in the mind, happening in the body, and you understand it's a natural process. It's happening due to various other causes to which I have no much control. Say when the climate change, due to climatic changes, body change. And when I eat certain types of food, accordingly my body change. Due to aging process, this body change. And due to karma also this body change. So various causes are there. And more you are understanding it, more and more you start to separate from it. Separate in the sense you are not going to kill it. Rather you are simply looking after it, but you have a kind of a dispassion. Similarly when you are watching feelings, similarly when you are watching mind, you generate that kind of a dispassion. So that is how actually this wisdom also develops. And your question is
linked to this question, because for
non-self.
Yeah.
Non-self actually. More and more you understand these things, more and more you see these things are occurring due to causes. Those are causal results. I mean, due to cause and effect. As a law, it is a cause and effect. So there is no ongoing, unchanging, permanent essence there. There is no kind of unchanging core there inside, which I call as myself, or ongoing life after the other. There is no such ongoing process, but there are every time certain causes are causing, contributing. Depending on all those many causes, this is sustained.
I find it more difficult to separate myself from emotions, to say it's not me. The body understands, it's quite clear, but the emotions is more difficult, I find.
Yes.
And in particular, if we are not able to refer ourselves to a pure essence and with which we compare anger or lust or whatever, because it's more difficult to say I'm not this anger, but if I'm not able to say because I am something else, the separation is, the dispassion is difficult, no?
It happens slowly. It happens slowly because especially emotions have their sort of attractive or holding nature. When an emotion happens, so it is more connected with the heart like. So you are fully in it. So you get caught to it immediately. So you can't have the separation at the beginning. So and again emotions develops suddenly, abruptly. Within a second it comes to a very peak. But especially through mindfulness, you are able to trace these emotions at the very early stages before they grow on to very peak. So that helps you to disengage from the emotion. And again, emotions are mostly contributed through thinking. So if you think about a particular person, okay, you are thinking little bit more. And again you think, okay, what he or she did to me. Again you think another incident. Again you pick another incident. Now you get overwhelmed with emotions. Because at the beginning you didn't have much of an emotion, but thinking aroused many emotions. So again and again, if you are thinking about a particular person, more emotions are tempt to come. So, but through mindfulness meditations, particularly in Vipassana, we discourage that kind of undirected thinking. Kind of useless thinking we discourage, because if we continue to think again and again, just dreaming, this fantasizing, so that will lead to various emotions which may be harmful. Yes. Yeah. So it seems like the questions are over. Any other question? Yeah. So then we have any comments? No comments. Okay. So then we have come to the conclusion of our 3 days retreat. Yeah, you have something to say? Yeah. Yes. Maybe after your words. Yes.
We have now come to the end of a successful meditation program at Kalalgoda Meditation Center. I want to first wholeheartedly thank Most Venerable Chandaratana Thero for his valuable guidance and advice. Secondly, I want to thank all of you for participating in this program. And last but not least, I want to thank the whole team who came to help out in numerous ways. Kalalgoda is purely run on donations given by the participants and volunteers who help. So I take this opportunity to thank you for your kind support. Please don't forget to clean out the rooms and empty the bins and take your valuables from the locker. Hope everybody had a great session and hope to see you again. May you progress further on the path. Thank you.
Good. So there's a small notice to share merits. So today Antonio Lee's birthday. So, so he's here with us without throwing a party. He's here with us to meditate. So we wish okay. So we wish him good luck and progress in his practice. And again, there is a sharing of merits for the breakfast dana. It was offered in memory of late Mr. N.A. Tilakaratna, whose second death anniversary falls on 17th January 2018, and wish to pass the merits to him. And again, there's a other group offered the lunch dana, and they also wants to share merits with all the passed away relatives. So all this time we were able to accumulate a lot of merits by meditating and by protecting the morality, and again by listening to Dhamma, and again participating to Dhamma discussions. So all these merits will pass to all the passed away relatives. May they all receive these merits, and may they be free from suffering. We share these merits with all the celestial beings. May they also receive these merits and rejoice in Dhamma. We share these merits with all the beings who are in need of merits. May they all receive these merits and be free from suffering. And may these merits help us also to realize the Dhamma and to practice longer and to understand the Buddha's teaching and to be free from suffering. So while keeping these thoughts in our mind, we'll recite the traditional verses. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bummattha deva naga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bummattha deva naga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu desanang. Sattha ca bummattha deva naga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu mamparang. Idang vo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Idang vo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Idang vo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So I like to tell few words. Actually, today we are actually having the last retreat in the 2017. So we'll be having next retreat in next year. You have got the dates already? Already. So, and again I found that it's a really beautiful place. We have a beautiful setup here, walking paths, and the place is quite conducive for meditation. And I found that many of you are benefiting from that, and many organizers now, actually they all work as a team. I appreciate that their contribution. And so hope in the next year also to conduct retreats here, and hope that you all get the maximum benefit from that. And most probably the Bhante also will be coming in the mid of actually beginning of the February. He also may participate to the retreat. So wish you all to see on next year. Okay.